we have these crossroads. And you know, either way you choose, your life is going to be different.
The universe doesn't exist, but God thinks it does.
We have to stop consuming our culture. We have to create culture.
Stupidity has a definite evolutionary function. I am all for abolishing stupidity, but before it goes, we should pay tribute to it.
Greetings and welcome to the Nonsense Bazaar. We're your hosts. I'm Willow Truman.
I'm Sequoia Kennedy.
And oh boy.
Oh boy.
We got a good old conspiracy episode today.
Excellent.
Like, I love returning to these. You know, we got Project Mannequin, Monarch. I mean,
we did the old Prison Planet last week. You know?
So we're staying within that realm.
I think we're staying in this realm kind of next week, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like it here.
We do blocks.
Right.
It's like a unit in high school, you know? Yeah.
So, if you think you've ever been unlucky in the romance department.
Yes.
Yes. I want you to meet a woman named Susan Reed.
Is she single?
Well, she's dead, so I guess.
Okay.
While living in Spain and taking a Spanish class, Susan became involved with a fellow classmate named Brian, who, unbeknownst to her, was actually hosting a reptilian entity. Nay, multiple entities. Well, what the fuck was Brian's problem?
I don't know.
Why did he want Susan so badly? Why did he want to bother her?
Never trust a Brian.
Oh, no. Apparently, she had taken a course called Awakening Your Light Body, which made her aura shine like a diamond.
Oh.
Attracting all of these reptilian parasites because she's so awakened, so enlightened. They're just, you know, they can sniff her out.
Her aura is radiant.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, being an evil reptilian host and having his sights set on Susan, Brian assigned 2 interdimensional reptilians to spy on her because you see, Brian's, you know, he's trapped in a human form. He's just a host for a reptilian, but he can't, his capabilities only go so far. He needs some backup. So he assigns 2 backups to help spy on Susan and report all of her activities back to him. One of these interdimensional reptilians, calling itself Edish, decided to break free from Brian's control and start revealing aspects of the reptilian agenda to Susan.
Wow.
Such as how wheat products are clogging our arteries.
Okay.
But much to her dismay, this rogue reptilian actually didn't have her best interests in mind. He was only pretending to be her friend and ally at first, but was actually spending years harassing her, leading her to places like Brazil to meet with John of God, the psychic surgeon convicted of rape, who, instead of curing her, sent her home with yet another entity attached to her.
That's not good.
So all of these experiences led her to write the groundbreaking book we'll be going over today, The Body Snatchers, A Real Alien Conspiracy.
Excellent. Great. Awesome.
Oh, it's dark.
Yeah.
The book is more or less split into 2 parts. First part being her relationship with the human, Brian, and then her relationship with and revelations brought about by the reptilian Edish.
It's a dumb name, I'm going to say.
It is. It's Ettissh.
Edish.
Yeah.
So weird.
First, however, we're going to learn a little bit more about our author. For starters, Susan Reed is not her real name, although it will be how we refer to her for a large part of the episode. It's actually her mother's maiden name. Her real name is, or was, Jenny Gosbell. You see, at age 44, Jenny Gosbell's body was found floating in the calm sea off of Cable Beach at Guanahani Village, Nassau, in 2009 in the Bahamas. Her death was ruled a drowning, but suspiciously all her personal belongings, money, bag, and passport had gone missing. This wasn't your normal accidental drowning. Did the alien menace take her, or did she take her own life, fearful of the reptilian invasion she believed was imminent?
No, she ran afoul of criminals outside the resorts on a tropical island.
It was the mob.
It was just some criminals. Yeah. Like all this like tropical islands shit, like...
Could have been.
Right outside the resorts is just like a hotbed of nefarious...
Solar passport?
Nefarious bullshit, yeah.
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 Or I was thinking, like, if she was just dead in the water for a day, who's to say that the people at the resort cleaning her room weren't just like, passport, gonna take this. Like, this is valuable.
That's also entirely true.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, because, all of her stuff was missing from the room.
This is that dead lady's room. Oh, shit, she left all her money and stuff.
Yeah, that tourist lady went missing. Fucking whatever, let's take her stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so before we begin, let's do what we do. I'm going to pull a tarot card, and we'll talk about it at the end of the episode.
So would that be Criminal but not suspicious.
Yeah, I guess.
Foul play but not suspicious. It makes sense.
The King of Swords.
The King of Swords. Okay.
It doesn't feel right, but I feel like it's maybe the lesson that comes out of this.
Well, let's see. It's always right.
It is always right.
So the King of Swords is the Knight of Swords in the Thoth deck. It's the fiery part of air. And, it like in the Rider-Waite-Smith, all the kings are depicted as sitting down and shit, right?
Right.
In the Thoth deck, Homeboy is on like this horse with fucking dragonfly wings.
Oh, sweet.
And he's charging the fuck into battle with his sword fucking pointed out. Like, it's it's a very aggressive air, right? Mm-hmm. Information, words, understandings, and shit.
Yeah.
So I, like, without knowing the story yet, I think I can kind of see where it's...
I mean, I see the King of Swords as, like, as soon as I see him, I imagine his sword as, like, it cuts through bullshit. This is a guy...
Or it could be the bullshit.
Yeah, it could be.
Air being information and communication, it can be false as well. It can come upon you like a storm, like psychosis, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know the story.
I see him almost as the influence that's lacking within the story, interestingly. But we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
Now, Sequoia, if you please, would you read us a little from the introduction to this wonderful book?
I'd love to. This is a book about an alien race and how they are taking over the planet. This alien race is known as the reptilians. Actually, they are called the draconians. The biblical term is the Nephilim, or fallen angels, and obviously Satan. David Icke talks a lot about them in his books. Oh, he's back. Captain Bill Robertson, whose books I have just discovered, described them as Markabians, an alien race operating to take over the planet who are able to take over adult bodies. Bill Robertson died prematurely of a brain tumor in his 50s. I should do that with the exclamation point. Bill Robertson died prematurely of a brain tumor in his 50s. I think maybe they killed him for his knowledge. I was targeted because I was doing a higher consciousness course called Awakening Your Light Body by Luminescence, and the reptilians wanted to know more about it so they could stop it. This is in all caps. I am very concerned for this organization's safety.
Yeah, okay. So, a little bit more about our author, Susan Reed. She's got a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition. She's worked for 18 years as a nutritionist and hospital dietitian for this hospital and that in different countries.
Okay.
She's worked in nutritional research for a number of years, but then she became interested in higher consciousness. She took this Awakening Your Light Body course.
How old was she when this happened?
Probably like, I don't know, in her 30s?
Okay.
This course that she took, I found it online as well as some of like the PDFs for the material that's taught in it. The people behind it.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's, I'm going to tease that right now because that's going to be our bonus episode for this week.
Oh,
We're going to
excellent.
dig into the
fuck yeah.
Oren and Dobbin's Awakening Your Light Body course. It's these two people, a woman named Sanaya and a man named Dwayne, and they both channel entities, and these entities have come through to give us all of this information, and the information is batshit.
Batshit?
Yeah.
Like particularly batshit? Because we've heard that story before.
Yeah, it's pretty batshit.
Fuck yeah. That, of course, you can get on our Patreon, patreon.com/nonsensebizarre.
Think about this course, right? Of course you have to be a little bit loose and kooky to even take such a course to begin with.
A little loose and kooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're not just, if you've never been interested in anything new agey before, you're not signing up for awakening your light body. So clearly there was some prior interest, some like tiptoeing into this type of stuff before she was exposed to this, and then the floodgates opened.
Loose and kooky is a good way to be, though.
It is. It's not a bad way to be. Like,
it's how I try to live my life at my best.
This course, though, this course lasts for like, I think 8 months. It's highly intensive. So, and it requires you to like do meditations every day, do journaling, and it completely changes your worldview too. It gives you like new vocabulary to think about everything with.
So it's brainwashing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that someone who was, minimally loose and kooky, like a fun loose and kooky before,
willing to accept,
could easily be transformed into a black hole of nonsense under the influence of Oren and Dobbin's light body course.
Fuck yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sequoia, please continue from the introduction to the Body Snatchers.
Right. I had become involved with a reptilian who had taken over a human spirit and body, who I will call Brian. He had been body snatched. He is cruel to a T, relishing pain, telepathic with extraordinary mental abilities. I have seen him as a reptilian, although at the time I didn't know that is what he was. I am absolutely convinced and have lots of evidence. Yes, the reptilians are here, and I am sorry to say doing rather well.
The way she writes.
This is so fucking funny. It's like, it's a copy for a fucking daytime TV infomercial.
Yeah.
Like one of those 45-minute jobs,
Right.
Yeah. A term I was told for the draconian organization is the suppressive force. They are also called the Illuminati, or the global elite. This is the reptilians. They are a secret organization taking control of the planet without us knowing about it. They place themselves in positions of power. They are also found in all walks of life. There is a ground force covering all geographical areas. His area used to be Marbella, Spain. He called it his turf.
Yeah, so let's talk about Brian a bit.
You're just some fucking insurance salesman. Enough money to go to Spain, calls it his fucking turf piece of shit.
So how did their love affair begin? Well, in 2002, at a government-run language school in Spain, while Susan was doing freelance work at doctor's clinics in Marbella, that's where she met Brian. They were taking the same Spanish class.
Okay.
She writes,
at the school, he was able to attract women to him very easily and was very friendly with a lot of women there. Brian with a class of women was like a fox in a chicken coop. He'd work his way through the lot. This surprised me because he was not good-looking, not wealthy, and he was black.
Like, okay, Susan.
Whoa.
Back it up there, Susan. Jesus.
And he was black, so there was the race difference.
Those Spanish women, they fucking...
Yeah, so it's 2002. It's 2002. Wow, Susan. Who are you?
Oh, do you want to see a picture of her?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, get ready. Brace yourself. It's scary.
Whoa.
She looks like a fucking reptile.
Dude, yeah.
She looks like she's possessed.
Oh, she is a goblin girl. Holy shit. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. And he was black, so there was the race difference. And yet he had women eating out of his hands. I later discovered that he uses seduction techniques involving mental hypnosis. It worked on me and I fell for him even after initially finding him unattractive. We had sex for the first time the day before I returned to England to work. This was during the day at my request. Although I was attracted to him, I felt worried about staying the night.
Yeah. So after they have sex for the first time, Susan becomes very suspicious. It was almost like he had done this before. With other women.
Had sex?
Yeah.
Whoa.
He was too good at it. And his personality in the bedroom was entirely different from the man she knew at language school. It was like he became a beast. She writes,
it was as though he had done this a million times before and I was just on his conveyor belt. He had done this many times before because he was getting genetic samples from every woman he met.
Like, whoa.
What the
Now we're making a huge leap in logic.
No, he's just some fucking insurance salesman. Fuck the... I used to...
Yeah. Susan had to go back and spend 4 weeks working in the UK, but she maintained contact with Brian through email during this time. And
right.
Upon returning to Spain, they attended a barbecue at Brian's place where he was notably friendly and flirtatious with a female neighbor.
Oh, shit.
But despite his interest in the neighbor, Brian persuaded Susan to spend the night with him, going above and beyond to make her comfortable by purchasing brand new toiletries and clothes and towels. Suspicious. The night passed without incident, but Susan was caught off guard when Brian's attitude shifted drastically during their next encounter at Spanish school. Apparently, he had collected his desired sample. Thus, his previously charming demeanor had evaporated, replaced by a sullen, unpleasant attitude, particularly towards Susan. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little pump and dump, if you will.
Yeah.
Brian ceased all contact with her, losing interest, but Susan wasn't done with him. She started to crave him. This clearly meant that he was using mental hypnosis on her.
Clearly.
She wasn't even attracted to him at first, but then he worked his way in, and now she's craving him even though he's ignoring her, and what the fuck? He's obviously
He has to be an alien Illuminati.
Yeah. Susan, honey, he's a player. He's a fuckboy.
He's a fuckboy.
That's all this is.
Yeah.
Or is it?
Dun, dun, dun.
Apparently Brian, or at least an astral form of Brian projecting itself into her bedroom, had told Susan some information about himself, like that he'd been abducted a few times as a teenager, but his body had officially been hijacked by reptilians when he was 20 years old. Also, I'd like to read a short description of Brian,
sure,
if I may,
yeah.
just so we have a better idea.
Of course.
Okay. He lives a facade. There's no conspiracy or political books in his house, yet he knows so much about those topics. His persona is a jovial cockney, a term for Londoner. He has a hidden strength and wisdom that did not fit his persona, and extraordinary mental abilities like the ability to memorize long phone numbers with ease. He could also use the computer really well, although he didn't need the computer for his day job.
Susan, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I could use the computer really well in 2002. What are you talking? Are you a time traveler? Are you from the 1950s?
She might be.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah. So apparently
being freaked out by computers and interracial relationships. What the fuck is
why
this?
can this black man use a computer? Like, is that it? Is she just fucking racist?
She might just be a fucking racist.
I mean, she is.
I think she's just fucking racist.
Like, God. She just can't get over her own attraction to this man. So clearly there's like some, you know,
That's
he gave
so
her the
funny.
best dick of her life. And now she's like, she's been dickmatized.
She's enigmatized.
So yeah, Astral Brian is showing up to her bedroom.
So she's dreaming about him.
Yeah, telling her about his abduction experiences. This is how Astral Brian, described it to her.
I've been to their spaceship in person. They hauled me up, dude. They hauled me up in some sort of beam.
He's a jovial cockney.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh, I've been to their spaceship in person. No,
That's a cockney. That's not London.
That's not. I'm not going
to. Oh, I've been to their spaceship in person. I'm always slipping into the Australian, even though I can't do an Australian on command.
Just do it normal.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it normal. Or, verging on Phil Hartman like usual. I've been to their spaceship in person. They hauled me up in some sort of beam. It stunk. They made sure I could breathe. It was a bit of a weird experience for me. I'd been a normal guy, and then there I was. It reeked. I can't say I felt great about it because I was human, wasn't I? I wasn't reptilian. They looked, they were dressed all right. They couldn't talk initially. They can't talk. Can't say a word. And then I became telepathic, and I could hear them, and they spoke with me in English. They enhanced my mind. My mind is fucking amazing now. They nicked specimens from my body. That's how it's written. Then they plonked me back in my bedroom. Fucking plonked him.
They plonked him. So they took a specimen, they made him telepathic, and they transformed him into a reptilian.
Fuck yeah.
So now Brian he's officially more than human.
More than human.
A reptilian inhabits him. And what does it look like? It's blue.
Oh.
It's earless, noseless, it's stinky, and it's twice the size of a normal human man.
Blue.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
For whatever reason, their relationship is very like, The Shape Out of Water. If
The Shape
see
of
that
Water?
movie. Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie.
Is it called The Shape Out of Water?
It's the shape
It's
of
called
water.
The Shape of Water.
The Color Out of Space is a Lovecraft story.
You're right. That's where my mind was crossing hairs.
Yeah.
Susan says that when she saw his true form, because his reptilian form, this like blue stinky giant creature would like also come and visit her room.
While she was dreaming.
Yeah, she felt awe-inspired by it. She would wonder whatever this majestic creature...
Stinky creature.
Yeah, wanted to do with a lowly human like her. She compares herself to his dog, likens Brian to being her master. So she's very attracted to him, yet always tense around him, always wanting to please him, but never being good enough.
She's fucking digmatized.
Yeah. She says that he bullied her and put her down constantly, and also that he hated the Spanish.
Okay.
You know, it's unfortunate that he was assigned to Spain then.
Yeah. Fortunate he's black. Fuck.
Yeah, right? In fact, he hated everyone. He also hated animals. Once, Susan said she saw him cut a duck's neck and watched it bleed to death.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah. And of course, you know, the whole time that she's seeing Brian and they're dating, his womanizing is just rampant because, you know, he has to collect all those DNA samples on behalf of the reptilians, of course.
Of course.
But like, yeah, he's cheating on her. She's talking with the other women about him. Like, so I think that is actually happening, but I also wonder how involved they actually were, or if she's just a crazy woman.
I think she's just a crazy woman.
You know, but if they were dating and she was just keeping all of this wrapped up, because I'm guessing at the beginning of their relationship, she wasn't this crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how long this...
When this kicked in.
Yeah. Right, because, she might be reframing.
The past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, you know, there was a human man in there. He just didn't have the spirit left to fight back against the other entities inhabiting his body, right? That's why my boyfriend cuts ducks' necks and hits me and cheats on me, because he forgot he's human.
Right.
He's possessed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's clear that Susan has an extremely rich and imaginative inner life.
That's one way to put it.
She's having trouble integrating experiences and differentiating like fantasy from reality.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Oh, she's fucked.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, Susie. Oh, you're dead now.
Rest in peace. There's a whole section of her book titled Weapons, where she goes over the variety of weapons that are used against her.
Okay.
But in particular, I want to talk about an experience she had with weapon number 4.
Weapon number 4.
Yeah.
I like a number system for weapon names. That's cool.
They're referenced all throughout the book, like, oh, weapon number 1 was used on me here.
That's very anime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one evening, while back home in England, Brian's reptilian form entered her living room and started to try and attack her with weapon number 4.
Shit.
So, what is weapon number 4? Let's read the description.
How do you feel in the afternoons? Tense, dull, depressed? Tense, dull, depressed, and you may be a victim of this weapon. None of these non-lethal weapons are obvious, but their effects debilitate you, so you are suppressed and your work output is reduced. There is a timer involved, and you will receive this weapon between the hours of 12 noon and 10 p.m. approximately, with a peak at 3 o'clock p.m. approximately. And for you to receive this, you have to have an implant that is like a helmet over your head, an alien attachment that is not visible, which may be possible to remove. Water clears the effects, at least 20 minutes in a hot tub with strong jets.
Yeah, so weapon number 4 is, it has a non-lethal permanent effect. It causes general debilitation, including depression, mind suppression, tension, and dullness. Afternoons are the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, in preparation, because Susan knows that weapon number 4 is going to be fired against her, she prepares herself a protective garment.
Oh, good.
Which is a rubber cloak made out of bath mats.
No.
Yes.
No.
So, you know, when Brian's reptilian form, this big stinky blue thing, comes in the room, she flings this bath mat cloak over her body, clutches it around her head. And, you know, she had been intending on traveling to Spain the next day to visit Brian. And for whatever reason, Brian didn't believe her. He thought she wasn't going to come back, that she was going to leave him. And that's why he had to send this reptilian form to her to torture her. It's like, what? None of that.
Whoa.
The logic there is so confused. So this reptilian is there just like firing weapons at Susan. One of them makes it so that she has to pee really urgently. So like she crawls to the bathroom with this cloak wrapped tightly around her.
Cloak of bath mats.
And then she crawls over to the living room, just like wrapping this thing around her head. She can hardly even breathe in it. And she just feels this intrusive force attempting to penetrate her cloak. She feels this like tickling, trickling sensation at the small gap in the material at the top of her head. Something starts trickling down to her shoulders. So like Susan's just shifting the cloak around to counter the tickling sensation and the stuff coming in the hole. Like all night, she's just like shifting around in this bath mat, hardly able to breathe.
She has lost her fucking mind.
Yeah.
She's also in rubber, so I imagine she's sweating, and that's probably the...
Right.
Yeah.
Eventually, she finds a nice comfy position, remains completely fucking still. Because she realizes that what Brian's trying to do is get that implant onto her head so that he can fire more weapons at her, you know? So she tries to keep her fear in check all night using meditation and occasionally coming up from her blanket cocoon or from her bath mat cocoon to take little breaths of air, like, and then pops her head back down.
Yeah.
Around 3 a.m., Susan experiences a revelatory incident.
Sure.
She could hear Brian talking, and she hears him communicating as two entities, like it's his voice speaking to himself. One in her presence, the other in Spain. It's like reptilian Brian and human Brian. And the two Brians are in her living room talking to one another and talking to her. And then the human Brian in Spain, I guess, targets her with an intense energy weapon that can penetrate the bath mats. And I guess it turns out the rubber actually makes this weapon's effects worse.
Oh.
Because now once it penetrates the bath mats like keep it stuck in there with her. So she's just in pain all night, and her stomach really hurts. It's directed right at her abdomen for half an hour. It's like, girl, are you just hungry?
Yeah.
Like, is your stomach just growling? And
Are
you're
you
like,
stressed?
they're attacking me.
Are you fucking stressed?
Are you sick? Yeah. So the two Brians are talking at once, and she suffers like this for like another 2 hours. Finally, at 5 a.m., after a total of 9 hours of torture, her doorbell rings. It's a taxi.
Oh, no.
The taxi to the airport that she'd ordered the day before.
Oh, yeah.
It rings and it rings, and she writes,
The taxi rang again and again, obviously thinking I had overslept. It tore me in two to let him down. I am very conscientious.
Yeah. So she's just stuck in the bath mats listening to this guy ringing her doorbell, and she's like, fuck, I'm letting him down.
Very conscientious.
She hesitates to answer, not wanting to abandon her struggle with Brian and to give him a clear shot at her head to get this implant in there. So despite her hopes, the entity doesn't leave until 7 a.m.
Son of a bitch.
Extending her whole immobilized ordeal to 10 hours. Exhausted and unable to sustain her situation any longer, Susan devises a plan. She knew that this entity could perceive only energy, not physical matter. So she visualizes herself remaining motionless while she starts to move slowly, but she imagines that she's staying still so that this thing thinks that she's still staying still.
Impressive visualization ability, if you can hold that, I gotta say.
Yeah. Successfully fooling the entity, Susan dashes downstairs, grabs her packed suitcase, and flees her apartment, all while maintaining the illusion in her mind that she's still laying down on the floor.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. So she hurries into a taxi, goes straight to the airport, catching the next flight, and she just leaves her place a fucking mess, despite it being listed on the housing market. Like, there's a viewing scheduled for the next day, and she leaves it like that. She never goes back there ever again.
Hell yeah. You know, I maybe Brian was CIA. Maybe he's using one of them mindy guns, you know? Hey, you know, it's...
I think he's just a regular guy.
He's just a fuckboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same time period roughly as like the Camellia story took place in and shit. Mm-hmm. There's maybe it's not all, but like maybe she got fucking like maybe.
I think there was a screw loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's who they go after.
It's true.
Yeah.
Those reptilians.
Yeah.
Now, remember how I mentioned that Brian hated the Spanish?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan of living in Spain. He constantly complained about the sunny weather, preferring rain. He hated the ocean. And of course, his work, which was just a cover job to evade suspicion about his actual reptilian identity. His job's not going very well. Brian would often speak fondly of Germany, expressing a wish to be there instead.
It's the opposite of Spain, for sure.
Yeah. So Susan became the catalyst for his transfer there, This resulted from a task that Brian manipulated her into, writing a newspaper article about him for the local press.
What about?
God, I fucking wish I knew. He promised to leave her alone.
This guy's black.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Germany, you need this man.
Yeah, what?
He promised
fucks real good.
Yes. He'll collect so many samples.
Oh.
So by this time, Susan's not even in Spain anymore, by the way. This is just like happening long distance. But apparently Brian had employed a couple of colleagues in Spain and England to go track Susan down. So she's just getting approached by, Brian's little cronies coming up to her being like, hey, you better write that fucking newspaper article about him.
Yeah.
He really wants to go to Germany. And it's like, if he's such a powerful reptilian, why can't he just go to Germany?
It's a good question.
Why does
think
Susan
there'd be a lot of
involved?
reptilians in Germany.
Right. So, backed into a corner, she completes the task that he requested. She writes the article, and after submitting it to the press and informing Brian, he finally ceased his pursuit of her. His objective all along seemed to have been to get Susan to write this article as leverage to secure his transfer out of Spain and into Germany.
We don't have the article?
No.
She doesn't include any of the article?
I wish. God damn it, I wish.
Seems fairly important.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Who knows if this article, what...
who knows what the fuck
what that means to her.
Yeah.
Well, Brian has his own reptilian entity, that's hosted within him.
She's probably having, dreams about that, and she's like, that's probably all information coming to her in
she's
a dream,
working at a hospital.
Just going to Germany.
I feel like work is so important to her. She puts an emphasis a lot on work. Her writing to me reads like someone who is really fucking burnt out, because she would not only work hard, but she would also do stuff like compensate for that by going on these yoga retreats, these spiritual retreats, finding herself very trusting and open to higher consciousness, wanting to find higher purpose in the world.
Sure.
But also, as a person in the medical field, I imagine that that's a pretty demanding job.
Yeah. I mean, she's a nutritionist.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a fucking brain surgeon, but...
No. So, Susan begins a more or less telepathic relationship with an entity that's attached itself to her.
Okay.
A reptilian male entity who we will refer to as Edish. You see, in the
Can we
beginning...
refer to him as anything else?
Just Edish.
Fuck.
Eddie. In the beginning, Susan believed Edish was her ally, helping her against Brian. But Edish, unbeknownst to Susan, was actually the catalyst for her falling out with Brian, manipulating and inflaming the situation the entire time.
Son of a bitch.
So this Edish guy, he's a large reptilian entity that apparently attaches from the back.
Oh.
Like a little parasite. Just sucks onto your back. He's a former soldier of the reptilian army. Yes. And Edish fucking hates humans and loves winning. Nobody loves winning more than this guy. This guy's a real winner.
Fucking loves winning.
Yeah.
Fucking worst. I fucking hate that so much.
In the past, Edish had been a physical reptilian in China.
I love losing and making the winner fucking hate themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just really ruining their well-earned victory. Yeah.
He's a winner, baby. So even though Edish is now a reptilian astral thing, entity, he was a physical reptilian in China.
Okay.
3,000 years ago.
Oh.
He was working in the reptilian. No, he was just working in the army. He was working
Chinese
in an army.
Okay.
In an army.
In an army. He was in an army.
And he was conducting experiments on humans for genetic research. He masqueraded himself as a god, and he would procure humans for his genetic experiments. Yeah, he had like a little Chinese slave girl that he would send out to bring back other humans.
So he's in the reptilian army.
Yeah.
He's not just some soldier in some human army who also happens to be a god.
Right. And now what's he doing? He's just like living in Susan's head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Picked her.
Right. Edish anticipates receiving a hybrid human-reptilian body when they finish colonizing Earth.
Yeah.
But for now, he's just an entity in space whose energy cord is attached to Susan's back.
Right.
Yeah.
Just the breaks.
It all makes so much sense. Susan writes that her bond with Edish changed when she was, quote-unquote, staying in a community.
Okay.
I get the vibe that Susan's kind of a world traveler, staying at this yoga retreat or that one, going to spiritual resorts all over. So when she says she's staying in a community, I imagine something like that. Maybe
could be a hospital.
Yeah, it could be a hospital, could be an ayahuasca retreat.
Could be a homeless shelter.
Staying in a community.
Yeah.
No, she always had a job. She got her work done.
She got her work done.
Yeah.
She's still getting her work done?
Yeah, she's
okay.
She got her work done.
Just remember, listener, this could be the Susan you work with.
It could be. Fuck. You don't know.
There's tons of people out there getting their work done, dude.
Yeah. So she's staying in this community, right? And the big change that happens between her and Edish is that Edish has decided he wants to be removed from Susan. Imagine that. Your reptilian parasite breaking up with you. Susan, listen, I'm a member of the reptilian army. What's going on here? Let's cut this cord. Like, really, though, is Edish a willing participant in this? Or, like, what the fuck is going on? So Edish comes up with a plan for his own removal, and the plan necessitated Susan making her experiences semi-believable to her community.
Okay.
She has to go and talk to everybody about it. And she needed to start writing a book about her experiences, spreading information about Brian.
Right.
Yes. So Edish uses this situation to barter for his removal. He says, I'm going to provide information about the reptilians. I'm going to help you write this book, Susan. And I'm going to do this in exchange for help against Brian.
Everyone fucking hates Brian.
Yeah. You see, it's revealed in a hypnosis session that Brian is also a member of the reptilian army. In fact, he's a commander, and he's the one who sent and commanded Edish to go to Susan. Dun, dun, dun.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's confusing. I know.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Like, Edish has been forced to be attached to Susan because Brian commanded it, and now Edish is like, listen, I don't want to be here. You don't want me here. We both don't like Brian. Let's team up. Let's write a book. Let's tell everybody about him. Tell everyone the truth.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
Yeah. So now Edish, seeking asylum from Susan's body, has instructed her to reach out to a battalion of entity removers simultaneously, the people that promise to, remove attachments over Skype for, $200 or whatever.
Yeah.
This is a tactic that Edish promises her will maximize the chances of his removal and freedom. And his insistence paid off.
Oh.
Susan met with many of these so-called entity removers, and most were able to identify the entities attached to her as alien, some specifically labeling them as reptilian or Nephilim.
You don't say.
So she gained some information. She also lost a lot of money in the process, but fuck it, because money is how they keep you in control.
They.
Yeah. Now, here's a transcript from one of Susan's hypnosis sessions where she tried to have Edish removed. Edish is speaking through her. Would you like to be the hypnotist or Edish?
I don't know. What do you think?
I'll be the alien.
Okay. What can I do for you?
I've done this before, and you're going to write it all down, and I'm not meant to be doing this because I'm not meant to be here, and you're not meant to know I am here.
But I do know you are here.
Yes, but you are meant to be in two minds. I am not meant to be like this. I'm meant to be in the back seat.
So how exactly can I help you?
I want you to get me out of the situation. I want to be released, but not by my own choice. I want to have you force me out. But you see, I can't even say this because I've got, there's someone else here who hears what I say, and I'll be in a lot of trouble if they report me to Miss Y. So to do all of this, I can't tell you. So, yeah, little break from the transcript. It's in this session that Edish reveals Brian as, the true villain of the story, revealing that Brian was indeed possessed by a reptilian warlord, and that, Brian had dispatched him to Susan with harmful intentions. That's really why he wants to be gone.
Okay. Yeah, because he doesn't want to do the harmful intentions.
Yeah.
He's a good Edish.
But he knows he has to be forced out.
Yeah. This doesn't make any sense. Okay.
It's almost like Susan really wants this thing gone, but doesn't know how to, stop this from happening.
Yeah.
So she's like, you need to force it out. Force it the fuck out of me. Remove it.
Yeah.
But it's coming out in this weird, disassociated way.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Okay, so back to the script. Okay, so you want me to help release you?
Yes, but not releasing. Moving.
And keep you out of trouble.
That's the problem. Her, my wife, my female, my mate, I'll be in trouble with her. She'll report me. I have to be made to go.
Your controller?
She isn't normally my controller, but right now she's got the thumb screws on me because, you see, I'm in the wrong. I'll be in trouble. I can't go. I'm not allowed to just go.
That old battle axe.
This fucking
the old ball and chain
entity has a wife.
Yeah, it's a real fucking.
That's
bitch
like,
too.
Hey, you finish your fucking assignment, paycheck, okay? You don't pussy out on
me. Are you
me.
shirking again, lazy bastard?
Go
you
back
weren't
to
this
that
lazy
woman.
when I married you.
Yeah. You go back and terrorize that woman right now. You earn your paycheck.
How can I protect you from her?
I will do that. Move her first, and then I can just go and she won't know. We just have to be removed. It's no big deal. It's so easy. It's so sort of easy, and yet somehow it seems so hard to do. I think you're not used to us because we're not normal. We're not the easygoing human souls that you normally have to deal with, and I have to be forced. But force isn't something you like to use because it seems like you're harming.
You make false assumptions about me. This dude loves to use force. Hypnotist.
I'm assuming you're like the others.
We think we are dealing with Earthbound. What?
They treat me as though I'm Earthbound. They treat me as though I want the light. I want to go and do, but not there. There are ways to remove us. I know how it can be done. And do you have spirit guides that can work with you?
Yes. Who is this fucking hypnotist?
I'd love to know.
Yeah.
Have they got some physical presence here in the room? Because I'm here in the room, and if they're here in the room, they can try and move me, but I will have to resist a bit because, like I said, she's watching me.
I will invite the guides here, and they have the ability to forcibly remove you.
Ah, that'll be good. Okay, I get it. He has to pretend to struggle to be removed so that his wife who's watching doesn't think that, he doesn't want to work.
Yeah. Maybe he can't. Maybe she can't hear him, but she can just see him.
Yeah.
Shall I now release you?
Well, your spirit guides will release me. You cannot in yourself, but your spirit guides can. Only there has to be more than one or two, maybe more than that. I'm large, and I'm hefty, and I have to be forced, and they have to be strong, and they have to be more in number than one or two.
Okay. I'm inviting the guides here who know how to do large entities. Oh, no. Okay. No, okay. I just saw what the next line says. I'm inviting the guides here who know how to do large entities. I'm inviting them to take no action against you that will harm you.
Ah, no, I must be harmed. I'm a battle man. Battle man, you see. Harm is no harm at all to me. I have to resist a bit, and otherwise, if they do not try and harm me, they can't get rid of me.
I am a battle man, you see?
Harm is no harm at all. Like, okay. So the session continues on, but basically it's unsuccessful. The entities are not removed, not the battle man or his wife.
Yeah.
Later on, some other medium manages to remove them temporarily, but they have to use 6 huge spirit guides.
Biggins.
He's large and hefty.
Yeah.
And also an angel named Shirl.
Sure.
Yeah, but Shirl apparently turns out to be a jerk and a liar, and thus Edish remains with Susan.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm a battle man.
We don't have time to get into Shirl.
Yeah.
God.
I don't care about Cheryl.
Now, Edish.
I'm done with Cheryl.
Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Edish is not a shy creature.
Right.
As soon as like he's in with these hypnotists and channelers, he's just blabbing about his reptilian identity, just sharing everything, talking about his wife, all the gossip, like
running his fucking
contempt for
mouth.
Brian.
Yeah.
Blabbing all over the place. Also talking about, his spite over being trapped as an attachment,
Yeah.
And how that spite was overpowering his duty to keep the reptilian agenda a secret. Like, he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah. Check the fuck out.
Yeah. One of the things Edish teaches Susan about is the implant agenda. Spoke a little bit about the implants earlier.
Yeah. Quote, the reptilians plan to have us all implanted with a small device. We'll agree to this because it will seem better than not having one. In order for us to agree, they are currently replacing cash with a card. She's from like 40 fucking years ago.
Yeah, she's really paranoid about credit cards.
It's crazy. This is 2002. The fuck? The whole world is to be implanted. They're currently replacing cash with a card. This card will be made to seem insecure and subject to theft. We will then believe that a small device under our skin is a financially better option. The whole world is to be implanted, so native cultures that do not bank are being or will be destroyed. The most likely way that the reptilians believe they will implant this device is via an identity card, and this will then be made to seem inconvenient. We will get lost and replacement will be difficult. We will agree to an identity implant as a solution to the problem of lost identity cards. This device will enable the reptilians to kill us, and they plan to do this when everyone in the globe is implanted. Edish says we will all be killed by electrocution via the implant.
Yeah, so they're going to chip us and then they're going to electrocute us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll bet you're wondering, what happens when we're all killed?
Yeah.
They're going to wait a respectable 10 years, let the dust settle, wait for all the bodies to rot, it's like how you can't make a joke too soon. They're going to wait 10 years first.
Well, things got to decay.
Yeah, then they're going to colonize New Earth with a new species, a hybrid of humans and reptilians.
Okay.
Now here's a question and answer session between, I guess this is just Susan and Edish talking.
Yeah. How to avoid the implant?
Get yourself out of society. Don't pay your dues. No bank account. That's basically the main way of doing it. We'll try and kill the rest. It'll be hard for us initially being new to the place.
Don't pay your taxes.
Yep.
What will you look like?
Hybrid of us and a human. More human, and you'll be a greener shade with a few bits and pieces attached. Now, we would appear green, dull green.
We're
not going to look pretty. We'll have all the senses. We won't have any scales. A bit pointless. Bit of hair, not a full beard. Height, about 6'8". We've got it all planned out. We know exactly what we're going to look like.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I'm going to look great. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Did you experiment on humans before?
Yes, a millennium ago. Millions of years ago or more. We used to come down.
Millennium's 1,000, dog.
Yeah. We used to abduct them and then dissect them and a few other things.
What did these abductees look like?
Fuller features, cavemen, fur all over the place, stocky build, muscle bound like hell, short.
The way this guy talks, so funny.
Yeah. So, in addition to the implant agenda, there's also the wheat agenda.
The fucking wheat agenda.
Yeah. Another question and answer session.
What will you be eating when you come down?
Rice, girl. No wheat. We don't want atherosclerosis. That's what it does to you. Scientists have discovered this and we hush them up. Yes, we've killed a few scientists because of this wheat thing. We promote wheat to debilitate you. Hardening of the arteries. It's the endosperm. Wheat germ is no good for you. That's what it is. Bran, no problem. Rice is the best thing you could eat.
Why?
Its protein is complete so you can live off of it. Almost. Our digestive system is going to be human. There's no other way. Right now, we make sure essential nutrients don't get in the soil so that you're less intelligent, a bit dimmer, so you can't put two and two together, and a bit more besides, we don't want you intelligent because you're going to look at the situation and think, it doesn't make any sense to me. That's right. It sure doesn't.
It's a little slip there, little Freudian.
Okay. Now,
Freudian doodad.
I have nothing to preface this next part with.
Excellent.
Let's just get into the baby milks portion of the conversation.
Baby milks.
Yeah, baby milks. Sequoia, you be Edish.
Okay.
You're educating us on the baby milks now.
You lack all essential fatty acids. They are not in baby milks. Not the right ones. Some of them, but a few missing, and in the past there weren't any. And you were bottle fed. If you had been breastfed and had 89% intellect, then you would have done fucking, well, brilliant. You would have been in the tops in nutrition, but you are not clever enough to get there now. So we mucked it up for you. The scientists don't know about the baby milks because we never finance.
Baby milks?
We don't add them, do we? That's deliberate. We don't let the scientists find out. We suppress it. We are the baby milks. We are in all of the baby milks.
Like, what the fuck are you saying?
E.g., Nestle, Cow, and Gate. Any baby milk company, and we're there. And we're any baby milk company, we're them. We've killed a baby milk scientist. You'd know him. He's quite well known. Heart attack.
I'm sure I wouldn't.
Encircling stuff. He was convinced we were wrong and tried to tell other people.
Yeah. So they're killing the evil baby milks and wheat scientists.
The baby milks.
And
formula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a species that hates humans,
we are the baby milk.
We are the baby.
We are in all the baby milks. Fuck me. God damn it.
I don't understand why they're going out of their way to try and hybridize with us and like take out these measures to like understand nutrition and like, you know?
Yeah.
Because why? So if they hate humans, then why are they taking out baby milk and wheat scientists? Why aren't they promoting them? Like, why are they killing the scientists that come out with the truth?
Well, the baby milk scientist, he probably figured out the reptilian agenda.
Yeah.
We don't add them, do we?
God.
Fatty acids. He's talking about fatty acids. Yeah.
Yeah, essential fatty acids missing from the baby milk.
Yeah. And the scientist, the baby milk scientist, he found out they weren't adding the essential fatty acids, or maybe he discovered they needed to add the essential fatty acids and they fucking smoked his ass.
Right. It's ridiculous. Clearly she has strong feelings about nutrition as a nutritionist.
You know what? This is a generalization and I'm sorry. Nutritionist as a job is a strong indicator of latent psychosis, I'm going to say. If you get like way too obsessed with like the food, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she was also like getting into homeopathy. Like she worked in the medical industry, but she was also, you know, doing these awakening your light body courses, interested in these other things.
I think it's very important to eat like good, healthy, whole foods and shit. Fuck yeah. But like you get too far down that path, like you're fucked.
It seemed like she had a real propensity for splitting things into two categories, good, evil.
Well, yeah.
Like good, bad. And especially like with people and with food. Well, and when she had trouble doing that and kept letting like this man Brian into her life that maybe wasn't a nice guy to her, she eventually like literally splits him into two. Like he is two people, the good human Brian who would never do this to me and the evil reptilian Brian who wants to hurt me. Yeah. Like she cannot fathom that these people would act like this. It must be because of reptilian influence. It must be because of these attachments, like all of this stuff going on in this other world, because she does believe there are other worlds. There is an unseen world happening.
Sure.
And her light body is shining bright in it.
Like maybe, but you're also fucking psychotic.
Yep. So she's having all these conversations with Edish that are recorded in her book. They're interesting, but we covered like the brunt of, you know, the most interesting stuff.
The baby milks.
The baby milks. Meanwhile, Susan gets attacked by even more entities, including one named Mary, who's the overseeing entity of John of God's Psychic Surgery Center in Brazil. Mary apparently followed Susan home after Susan visited Brazil to meet with John of God herself.
Okay.
I want to talk about her trip to Brazil.
Okay.
So, who the fuck is John of God?
He's no Arigo, that's for sure.
No. Perhaps you've seen the Netflix series about him, and if you have, then you know this ain't good.
I have not heard of this.
João Teixeira de Faria, commonly known as John of God, is a Brazilian medium and psychic surgeon.
Okay.
He gained international fame for his healing practices, which he claimed were guided by entities or spirits of the dead. He conducted his operations at the Casa de Dom Ignacio de Loyola, a spiritual healing center in Brazil where people from all over the world come to seek his help for all kinds of ailments, depression, cancer, you name it.
Yeah.
One of his most prominent scandals broke in December 2018 when numerous women, including his own daughter, came forward with allegations of sexual abuse.
Oh.
They claimed that the abuses happened under the pretense of his spiritual healing practices. The number of women accusing him of sexual misconduct has now grown into the hundreds.
Excellent.
So, basically what he does is he gets people under the trance and the entity guides them and, Now, following these allegations, De Faria was arrested by Brazilian authorities, who also found the Brazilian equivalent of $300,000 in cash, as well as very valuable gemstones stored in one of his homes at a spiritual retreat. On other properties of his, they also found cash and gemstones.
I mean, get that bread. It's more the other stuff I'm concerned about.
Yeah. Well, they were concerned about money laundering.
No, I don't give a fuck about that. That's fine.
In 2019, he was sentenced to 19 years and 4 months for the rapes of 4 different women.
See, that's the part I care about.
Yes.
Yeah.
A sentence that he's currently serving in prison while further charges are pending. Now, what does Susan write about him?
I remember when I first heard of John of God at the lecture in California, I was impressed by the video of the psychic surgery with John of God using a knife in someone's eye without anesthetic. There were tours advertised on the internet, so I attended a lecture whilst in California. They encourage everyone throughout the world to go there and promise healing of all and every condition. My healing need was the complete disconnection of the reptilian entity. I was encouraged again and again to go, but the financial cost of it was off-putting. The tours that they recommended for first-timers were $1,300, and then there was the flight on top costing £600. I work as a healthcare worker in hospitals where the wages are not high. Finally, I saved up enough money and went on his 2-week tour with great hope. There were about 20 people on my tour with a wide range of illnesses or just life problems. As I said, everyone is encouraged to go with any condition. Some of my group was in financial hardship, and it upset me the lengths that they had to go to get the money. One man was a DJ and had to sell all his musical equipment to go. Another man was unemployed due to his illness and had to borrow the money. Several visits were also recommended, which runs into thousands of pounds. Yeah, see, fucking Arigo didn't charge shit. He was just sticking that knife in eyes gratis,
Still don't trust him.
Sure, but at least he wasn't fucking making people go broke. It's at least a point for him and against John of God. The second day we were taken to see the entity. We queued up in a very long line. I felt sick with nerves as I approached John of God. I was surprised in my feelings as I would have expected to feel good seeing a healer. Something about the entity scared me. I had about 5 seconds in front of the entity who didn't even look at me, and then I was told to sit in the meditation room. I sat there waiting for my healing, but nothing happened. I left the casa, as it is called. Freaking racist bitch. So fucking funny.
The casa.
Yeah, the house. It's it's the meditation house. It's fucking
she puts it in quotation marks too.
The casa, as it is called. Very disappointed. I wasn't the only one in the group disappointed. Another lady was in tears, feeling that she had been given no healing at all.
Yeah, so it's not good.
It's not good.
So first of all, she goes there. She has to save up.
Yeah.
The other people there are we're also in dire straits.
Yeah, we fucked ourselves for this.
Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah. 2/3 of the patients are local Brazilians, the poor who see John of God as we would see a doctor. These were the people who were given more time in front of the entity. He would hold their hand and talk with them. A few minutes was spent, whereas the foreigners were whisked by in a few seconds. I suppose this is understandable. The healing is for the poor Brazilians, and there is only so much healing one man can do. But then foreigners should not be encouraged to go. So why are they encouraged to go en masse? This is for a reason that is the hidden agenda of John of God healing. Their agenda is not just healing, it is increasing world belief in spirits.
No, it's getting your money.
It's getting your fucking money.
Getting your fucking money.
It's getting your fucking money.
The foreigner's money.
Yeah. Since I wasn't healed and I was crying uncontrollably in the meditation room, I was told to sit in the room next to the entity where intense healing and psychic surgery took place.
Yeah, they literally were like, okay, since you're freaking out,
Yeah.
why don't you sit in the room next to where the entity is working and see if you can soak up some of the energy, okay?
Yeah. I was very pleased to at last be getting healing. But I was given no healing, and instead a pretense of healing was put on just to stop me crying.
That is exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. Therefore, I was made this one
I'll give her that.
true sentence in the book. Thereafter, I was made to feel very unwelcome. I still had a week of the tour left and had no choice but to stay. The Casa obviously had no methods to deter unwanted people from staying, as I became constantly surrounded by spirits who appeared
They did
red.
have methods.
Oh, the Casa obviously had methods to deter unwanted people from staying, as I became constantly surrounded by spirits who appeared red and unpleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, upon returning home from the Casa, Susan was displeased to discover through Archangel Uriel, being channeled by a woman named Jennifer Hoffman,
Okay.
that indeed, just as Susan had suspected, a spirit had followed her home from Brazil.
I later discovered the entity's name was Mary Magdalene. Good God. And that she oversees John of God. She is a big and powerful spirit and had these burly fucking ghosts, dude. Burly spirits.
Big spirit.
Yeah. Fucking biggins.
Not easily removed.
Yeah, no.
They gotta be forced down.
Yeah. She was a big and powerful spirit and had dark motives for attaching to me. She believed I had discovered one of the secrets of the Casa, which is that the herbs are just placebo. In other words, they have no healing power and are used because people expect medicine.
Yeah, one of the things they do, or that they did, is they would hand out the same herbal remedy to every single patient.
Yeah.
Be like, it's about the spirit, the entity will change the herb into whatever you need as it enters you, but everyone gets the same herb. So she's like, oh, I'm being targeted because I figured out that the herb actually isn't anything.
Well, you know, if the wafer can become the body of Christ,
Yeah.
who knows?
Right. So Mary Magdalene, because, you know, she knows that Susan has figured out the big secret,
Yeah.
teams up with Edish to start fucking with Susan, interfering in her relationship with Brian, which was still happening at this point in time. The timeline in the book is pretty confusing because Susan
Gotcha.
kind of hops around all over the place.
Yeah.
But, you know, after a year of being tortured by Mary Magdalene, who won't seem to go away despite how much money she throws at entity removers,
Right.
Susan decides to return to Brazil to meet with John of God again.
Yeah.
Clearly, it still didn't work. Otherwise, she wouldn't have written the book and be writing about it. So, like, what the hell, Susan?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell?
I mean,
A question I want us to ruminate on before we start wrapping up is, who Susan Reed was really a victim to? The reptilians? Or men like John of God and David Icke, who she corresponded with, that fed into her delusions because it helped bring them money and helped, you know, support their own agenda.
If she's putting this fucking schizoid overlay on fucking everything she has, like, it's no wonder a couple of them turned out bad in the end.
Yeah.
You know? Like, and I mean, like, her death, like, I know what happened.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, duh.
Yeah.
So after Jenny Gospel's body was found, her mother, Susan, the actual Susan Reed, had trouble accepting the explanation given by police. How could her athletic daughter who loved to swim have drowned in a calm sea? Susan believed that tourism chiefs wanted to brush her daughter's death under the rug to protect their image of an idyllic paradise.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
You know, she also thought it was really suspicious how Jenny's passport, bag, money, and personal belongings had all gone missing. There's nothing left in her bag or hotel room to show who she was.
Except they knew who she was because they told her fucking mother.
Yeah.
Like.
And Susan knew that her daughter had written a sci-fi book, as she puts it, but she didn't really seem to fully grasp the depth of her daughter's delusions.
Yeah.
Her mom says,
people tried to give me an impression that she was acting a little strangely and blundering along, but she was just taking some time out after writing a sci-fi book and was planning another. She had gone out there for a yoga resort and then was traveling around and planning to go to Florida. After she died, a check came from the sales of her book in the post. It was very sad.
Yeah, so her mom's totally, like, in the dark about what's actually going on.
Yeah, a lot of people fucking are. Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
In an article from Birmingham Live, we learned that Jenny worked as a dietitian for Birmingham Nutrition and Dietetics Services and treated patients at Moseley Hall Hospital. She had been due to face a disciplinary hearing in front of the Health Professions Council right as she had taken that vacation to the Bahamas.
Interesting.
Allegations against Jenny included wrongly advising a patient to drink a whole bottle of medicine, not reviewing the feed that she had prescribed to a patient, wrongly concluding that a patient with a superbug had been vomiting due to chemotherapy and they should stop their chemo, and using the work photocopier for personal use, as well as poor record keeping.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So she really wasn't getting her work done.
She wasn't getting her work done. She was going fucking nuts.
Fucking up at work.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, as she's fucking up at work, she's supposed to have this disciplinary hearing. She fucks off to this yoga retreat and ends up dead in the water. Yeah. So Neil Haig, the illustrator who designed the cover of Jenny's novel, which you guys have to look at, my God, the art on this cover, he said,
"It's terrible to hear of the death. Jenny had a lot of fears and anxieties and sent an email to me and some other people appealing for help in 2008 because she felt like she was being followed and under some pressure. She felt like she was struggling with things."
So I want us to think back. We only mentioned it very briefly. It was just a sentence. Yeah. But Jenny's answer to curing the effects of weapon number 4, the weapon that inflicts depression. Yeah. Water. Sitting in a jacuzzi for 20 minutes. Swimming. Yeah. She wrote about how water, she felt, could remove toxic energy. That it was the one thing that could temporarily make her feel better. So to me, with that in mind, her final resting place in a calm sea, you know, getting rid of her credit card, all of her cards, that's exactly what the reptilians told her to do. You have to get rid of your ID. You have to get rid of your cards. You have to get rid of everything. Yeah. And then she went in the water. She probably took a whole bottle of medicine herself.
She actually, that's actually might have been what happened. You know? She might have just fucking downed a bottle of pills and went swimming.
Yeah, and decided, I've had enough. Yeah. I want to be at peace now.
Who knows what the entities told her in that fucking room.
Right. And then meanwhile, you have people like David Icke or whoever, lots of people on the internet that then take her death and use that as an example for, a suspicious death in the Bahamas. It's not. Linked to reptilians. It's not. And they use that as evidence that their own agenda is more real. And it's so fucked up to me.
Yeah, it's a tragedy of a woman with mental health who was done fucking dirty by people like that. Yeah. By motherfuckers just like David, but just like the people that are taking that shit and spinning it because they're goddamn ghouls. Mm-hmm. They're the worst of fucking humanity.
Right. And I don't necessarily I'm not going to pin the blame on the Awakening Your Light Body course. I can't pin the blame on anything specifically. It's more of just like she's the people, she's a person that's targeted for this shit. Yeah. And these people don't fucking care about driving people crazy. Right. When the term targeted individual is used, but literally. Yeah, they're targeted by the people that can fucking take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. Because that's a mental state that whether it's some fucking fuckboy in Spain, whether it's some fucking bullshit psychic surgeon, whether it's goddamn David whether it's a lady channeling Archangel Uriel, and taking her money, Yeah,
I mean that's what happens, man. And
because she was a repeat customer, she would write about how she would go to these entity removers and they would only be removed for like a week, and she would have to go back and be like, "I need you to get rid of it again." Yeah, so they would just. She's just a cash cow for them.
The placebo fucking effect gave some relief, and then it starts back up again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, she's clearly extremely mentally ill, and the unfortunate thing is you start to get into those circles and shit. Eventually, the only people you interact with are people that don't give a fuck about you. Yeah, and that's no good, man. That's no good.
Right. And also throughout her writing, she constantly is she puts herself down for her choices that she's made in relationships with men. Sure. Like, I don't know why I kept going back to him after that. I don't know why I choose to involve myself with people that don't make me feel good.
Yeah. Who knows why people do that?
Yeah.
Save the fucking world. He figured that one out.
So that brings us back to the King of Swords, which again, I kind of am resting on my initial interpretation, which is that this is the influence that one has to have in order to guard against this happening to them.
I feel like I have to disagree.
Okay.
Maybe it's two sides of the same fucking coin. Mm-hmm. Right? Whereas to me, I see her making all these snap judgments and shit. Yeah. And she's rushing to conclusions, rushing to place her own worldview on situations she's encountering. One that's not healthy, and she doesn't have the stability and shit to step back.
Right.
And make the discernment. But also, like, the King of Swords in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck looks like he's someone making judgments, passing judgments, deciding things.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Knight of Swords, King of Swords in the Thoth deck is charging in headlong with not a care in the goddamn world.
Right. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, I think of the King of Swords as like this very fair ruler who's like analytical, and he tries to cast the fairest judgment that he can. And he's able to do that swiftly.
Yeah, and he has a penchant for doing things swiftly.
Yes.
Coldly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also perhaps more objectively.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like he's not driven necessarily by emotions like perhaps the King of Cups.
Sure.
Might be.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's within Swords though. It's the dichotomy of like true analysis versus delusion.
Right.
Like insanity is definitely in a different way than it's there in the Cups. So the Cups, you've got the Seven of Cups for insanity, which is just illusions, right? But with Swords, you've got, the Nine of Swords.
Yeah.
Fucking Eight of Swords, the Two of Swords, all these, mental illness type demons, right? And then the Ten of Swords is just the final fucking, Like, I'd
be so curious to know, did the other people in her life notice what was wrong? Did she have friends?
That's the thing.
Have peers?
Yeah, did she have people that cared about her?
Were her coworkers like, I wonder what's up with Jenny? Like, she's been acting really weird.
Right.
Or did nobody give a fuck? Was she just like in her own little world?
She might have just been in her own little world, and her only outside contacts might have been crazy people on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a cautionary tale. It's hilarious, so I made fun of her a lot, but like, shit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it's really scary that the idea that you could look at someone and think that maybe that's not them. Maybe they're hosted by something else.
Yeah,
Not trusting that other humans are human.
Yeah, in lesser ways, that's a fairly common fucking delusion.
Mm-hmm.
Just assuming that this person is out to get you, or fucking is assuming plots and fucking conspiracies and, paranoia that can be a lot less, fantastic than this, but still be really fucking damaging.
Right. Like, to me, it's a cautionary tale about someone that couldn't accept reality, especially bad things happening.
Yeah.
And the reason why bad things happen.
Well, and the reason is just because, like, shit happens.
Yeah, sometimes a player is just a player.
Right. Sometimes a player is just a fucking player. There's no grand plot.
Yeah.
Sometimes, sometimes people just fucking take advantage of you.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're attracted to people who are bad for you.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're brainwashing you.
Well,
Unless they are.
They might be. And sometimes people just want your fucking money.
Oh, yeah.
And like, that's a
lot of times.
Honestly, that's a big thing that I don't think people like give enough play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes they just want your fucking money.
That's definitely what I feel like she was most victim to, because she's going to these retreats. I mean, she fell into the John of God's thing.
Right.
God knows how much that cost.
A fucking ton. And it's like, she has to make up this complex story about, like, even about just how they, like, this supernatural plot to take your money. No, just taking your fucking money.
Right.
Like, you can just be
sometimes
deceived
bad
by
people just do things.
Yeah, and sometimes you fail at recognizing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Right.
Whatever.
Doesn't mean they're being controlled by an evil entity. Sometimes people just do bad things.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes people just fucking suck.
Which leads me to believe that, honestly, I bet that she wasn't a total dumbass for her entire life. It feels like she was a person that, like I said in her writing, she stresses, like, she felt like she was letting the taxi driver down.
She was burnt the fuck out.
She was so burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so critical of herself and so like self-examining, but to the point of like delusion, where she went way past the point of like having insight and started coming up with explanations.
Yeah, dude. I mean, burnout's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it can make you truly insane.
Yep.
Like, yeah, over a long period of time, like, you don't have the
and
bandwidth
loneliness.
to catch up. And loneliness.
She's traveling
yes.
around all the time. She's working
She's
in this
by her
country,
fucking
that
self.
country for
Yeah.
a few months at a time. She never establishes like roots anywhere for
Right.
long enough to really feel like safe and connected. I hear nothing about like familial relationships. Her mom clearly had no idea what was really going on with her daughter.
Right.
Like she was disconnected.
Yeah. Don't get disconnected. Spend time with people who give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really important. It's really fun. And there are people.
That's the best way to deal with weapon number 4.
Yeah. A fucking bath mats.
Mm-hmm.
All
A
the
bath will
homies.
help.
Well, a bath will help.
A bath is nice, but you know what's even nicer? Talking to people about what's going on.
Yeah. Or not if you can't, but just like before you reach for the bath mats, like maybe talk if you haven't.
Yeah.
I'm all for being alone too. I'm kind of a loner myself, but like, it's good for you.
God.
Yeah.
Well,
These fucking bastards. I hate them so much.
that'll do us for the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Story of true alien conspiracy.
Hell yeah. That was fun. I hate that it was fun.
Yeah. It's not right that it's fun.
But it was fun.
Why does psychosis have to be kind of funny?
I don't know, dude.
sometimes?
We've done some other stories that weren't as fun.
It's true.
This is the baby milks, dude.
The fucking baby milks.
I am the baby milk.
We are the baby milks. We're in all of the baby milks.
It's fucking beautiful. It's a fantastic line. All right. Well, hey guys, if you like what we do and you want to support the show, you can get access to our bonus series, The Corkboard Bazaar, and our Discord server over at patreon.com/thenonsensebazaar. And this week we will be talking about the course that this poor woman went through that started all this.
All about Oren and Dobbin. And there's also an angel named Thaddeus that makes music. We'll talk about him too.
I have a D&D character named Thaddeus. It's a great name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Dobbin, though. I don't like a Dobbin.
No.
No. And you can also give us a rating and review. And tell your friends, tell your hallucinated astral entities, tell your fucking psychic surgeons, and tell David Icke. Just fucking tell him.
Yeah. He'll love to hear it.
Yeah.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.